Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. Now, I have some games stocked up, about 40 of them, I think, in total. And I like to get these out ahead of time. So I'm not sure when this is coming out, but about this same time frame, guys, is of this match. Now we're a little bit later, was when I was doing the American Dreadnoughts for the Vermont Bureau. And this was our fourth 200K game in California in 1 month. So I haven't played these dreadnoughts much recently, but when I was really doing well in them. And I don't think I'm the world's greatest player by any means. In fact, I'm just, like I said, above average. But in these American dreadnoughts, I'm pretty darn effective, and it doesn't matter what tier. Vermont, Kansas, Minnesota in particular. I had the second best game ever in Minnesota, almost 300K in Minnesota, right when I got it. So I've even had Minnesota that long, and I love that ship. But anyway, we're in the middle spawn. And a lot of times, if it's a good choice, because it's not always a good choice, because I can get myself caught being over aggressive, I try to, as the middle spawn, help the flanks out with crossfire. If you guys don't know what flanks are, because I probably haven't mentioned this before, and I think some people don't know, flanks are the edges, so the outside caps, or the outside spawns. Now, we're not on a flank, we're in the middle spawn here, but again, we're going to try to get our crossfires. And on this map, it's estuary, I believe, and this map, I love this one. This in Haven, you get some really good crossfires on. So anyway, you can notice right away, I didn't shoot right away, and the reason was that I wanted to sneak up to the island. I thought I had a good a good shot on Ishmael. It turned out not to be as good as I thought. I thought he was turning more broadside, and he ends up straightening out. But anyway, we're going to take a shot at California, because California is pretty girthy, and at distance you can get a lot of pins on her. But anyway, you can see our right flank to my ship's right is on the A side is rushing in, and this happens a lot, and you have to be aware of it. The reason I didn't go to the right side right away is I can get valuable crossfires over here, and because a lot of people get real aggressive on that right side. If you're patient, which I'm doing better about doing recently, you can wait for people to come over and make a mistake and catch them. This is a matter of time before people get impatient in this game. With that being said, we get a pretty good shot on Ismail, and you can see I'm keeping an eye over on the right side, and now the North Carolina that's pushing up has gotten my attention a little bit, but we still want to stay right here for all the crossfires that we're going to be getting. Now, we haven't had the world's best luck yet. This Ismail, for the most part, has been pretty lucky and has just been angled slightly enough to be effective. But you can see that North Carolina absolutely wrecked our battleship that was over here. I don't remember what it was. But interesting story later about that North Carolina. That's not going to be the end we see him. I do quit worrying about him so much because he is turning out. So he's not going to push in, which is a good play on his part. And he's going to be a solid player. But we have a decent look at the Pensacola. We're going to go ahead here and shoot our back guns and then wait for our front guns to turn back around. We see he's turning in. We make the adjustment. Even though it's a kind of a blind fire, we're going to go ahead and do a magic trick here, folks. And we're going to turn a Pensacola into a submarine. Anyway, you guys, you can see here, I'm keeping an eye, as you got to. Sometimes when my awareness is not very great, it's a lot better now than it used to be, and it's continually to get better. The more I have been playing this game, the better I've gotten at it, as you guys have seen. We've had, 3 world records now? Or no, two world records and one really close one, and then a few thirds. So I'm pretty proud of that. I don't consider myself a world's greatest player by any means, but um, I've definitely been doing very well recently. So here you're gonna notice I'm gonna kind of quit shooting my guns. That's because Leander's in the smoke there. And if Leander wants to, he could absolutely farm California. Like that's Leander is a very good counter to California. Obviously, I could dev strike Leander, but sitting in the smoke like that, that Leander could absolutely wreck me from the smoke. As our, you can see, I warned our destroyer not to go forward, and he goes forward and gets a poor outcome for himself here. But you can see Leander doesn't focus on me, which I found was very interesting at this point, because that Leander could absolutely wreck me in the smoke. And I was being a little bit cautious, but we're going to see we're going to have a decent shot here, even though we are absolutely getting our butt kicked as a team. You're going to see I have a decent shot at California. He started to move up. We're going to go ahead and take that. Right there, as you can see, we pretty good salvo. We're getting, we have a slow start. We're 7 minutes into the match with only 50,000 damage. In the California, like I said, in the American Dreadnoughts, I've been pretty much on a tear with these things when I've been in them, which is really cool because honestly, I didn't really care for them that much when I first started playing the game. Overly aggressive, and you don't have the speed to make up for it. So as you see, we get our solid hit on the Ishmael finally, and his stuff is starting to heat up now. You can see York is starting to push up, and was patient up until this point. But again, you're gonna see he's gonna get over aggressive. We are trying to get our guns now. California's, I think, like, actually might be the slowest ship in the game. But we're going to go ahead and get a shot off. He gets angled. I think he might be getting rid of torps on his other side. And instead of switching to HE here, like in American battleships, for the most part, I'm almost always in AP mode. And because here you would think, oh, switch to HE. Well, he turns, and I'm glad I didn't. But we're going to go ahead and move ourselves up here to try to get a good shot on him. We don't get the last turret out, which is a shame because this would have been a dev strike. As you can see, we absolutely demolish him, even with only 2 shells hitting. But we're going to get the last one out and try to finish him off. I think our teammate actually does, in fact, get the kill. Yeah, so we almost had a second dev strike there, but that's not going to be all for the dev strikes. So we're going to go ahead and pay attention to the side. Now, Leander gets himself spotted. You can see right as soon as he spots, I look over. And this is not the strength of the Leander. You can absolutely crush a California, but you're not going to do it broadside within 15 kilometers. And you guys want to see another magic trick? We're going to make a Leander disappear. And ta-da! As we get another dev strike. I've been getting a lot of them dev strikes actually recently. Almost had 3 already in this game, but I've had a couple games now with, I think there's going to be a video coming up very soon where I had like 4, maybe 5 dev strikes in one game, which is crazy. Now, a few of them were destroyers, so it's not an insane amount of damage, but still, I've had some insane luck with dev strikes lately. I think that's because I've gotten over the last probably 3 months a much better at aiming than I first started. Like I said, I was a pretty terrible player when I originally first started. But anyway, we have 5 minutes to go. I'm going to push up. I'm going to do it in a way, though, that I'm not going to get myself murdered. Hopefully. We kind of have an idea all 3 of these battleships are back here. Now, they are pretty spread out. So you can see I'm being a little bit cautious here. I'm spotted, so I know one's pretty close to me on the other side of that island. And we're going to go ahead. Once we're not spotted, we're going to start to turn in here and get back over here to have a war. Now, this North Carolina over here has done a pretty good job of hurting our team. Also, one thing to note at this point, we have a high caliber when we got to just over 100,000 when we crossed over. Keep that in mind, is we take a good shot at North Carolina, but get pretty unlucky, because at that moment he was pretty broadside, and I thought we were going to do some damage. But anyway, with us getting a high caliber when we crossed over 100,000, that means that around 100,000, we did 30% of the entire enemy's health, right? So that means, obviously, you guys see in the thumbnail, we're going to cross 200,000. That means we did over 60%, or at least bare minimum, more than half of the entire team's defense or health. That we did most of the damage in this game. You know, we collectively did more damage than the rest of our entire team. That is pretty cool to me. Now, damage isn't everything, and I'm a big proponent of saying, listen, damage numbers are cool and such, but I'm not necessarily a damage hunter. But in this match, I was effective with the damage I was doing with crossfires. You know, you can see so far it wasn't all battleships. We dev struck 3 cruisers, well, almost 3. The York wasn't a full dev strike. So you can see, you know, we're doing what we can. We're going to take a shot at here at the Fuso. And you can see I'm slowing down. I don't want to just rush out in front of these 3 guys. This is something I used to do a lot. Again, North Carolina here. I thought had a good shot. Some of the shells hit the turret, so are the island. I'm pretty good at smoking mountains, so turns out not the world's greatest for us. He gets a pretty solid hit back as he gets his high caliber. So at this point I realized, oh, North Carolina's playing pretty well. I got to keep an eye on him. Funny story about the North Carolina as well. I actually talked to him in this match afterward, and he actually became a friend of mine after this, and we were talking about how crazy the match was as a whole. But anyway, we get our Confederate, and we're going to go ahead and start pushing. Why are we going to start pushing? Fuso's not paying attention to us, and this is a, you know, in my daily dumb Dave moment, this is it here. I shouldn't have shot that Fuso. There's no reason. I had the world's best shot on him. He's not focused on me. But we're going to move up. North Carolina's getting some distance on us. I have a decent amount of health to take on these 2 and get crossfire for our teammates. So rear turrets, we're going to be shooting at the North Carolina. In front ones, we're going to take on the Tennessee as he gets a pretty solid little hit there. I guess he could have, you know, not the world's greatest, but we hit him back a lot harder, taking 15,000 off. And all of a sudden, we're close to 170,000 damage. As you can see, Tennessee goes out to a fire from our other Tennessee, which is kind of interesting that our Tennessee is using the fire, or HE. But anyway, we lose the turret. And that's okay. We're going to take one more shot as North Carolina as he's going away. Now he's kiting, which is a good move on his part. But like I said, I don't chase kites. You know, like if you just sit and chase somebody, it's not good. So we're going to go dark here. And also, that Fuso shot back at me and did some damage, which not only do I want revenge for, but you can see why that wasn't the world's smartest decision, taking a poor shot at him earlier, because he doesn't is well aware I'm here. So you see I go dark. I clearly see that the Fuso is trying to take out our Pensacola. And we're going to do something what I call the death turn, where I turn as fast as I can with my gun's broadside, kind of like in the movie Battleship, where they take out the alien. I do that a lot, actually, and we're going to go ahead and take a good shot here on the Fuso, and just miss out on getting a depth strike. Obviously, he was a little less than half. Now, obviously, North Carolina has seen us. He shot most of his guns off, so I'm turning in, which probably not the world's best decision, but at this point we can't lose it here, and we're going to take one more shot. So when I stopped, he stopped, you know, when I stopped chasing his kite, he came back, and you want to do that a lot when you're in a ship. Don't just chase somebody off the map. Make them come to you. You want to make sure you have the advantage. Now here, we're getting ready to go ahead and hit him one more time, but the match is going to come to an end before that does happen. But on the fourth 200K game, fourth 200K game in California in 1 month, which is pretty crazy to me. I used to have the common belief that I like Tayuga better, and I think a lot of people do, but now that I played the California more, it's definitely a better ship in my opinion. Just my opinion. Had a couple 200K games this month in Hyuga as well, but anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time, folks. Have a good one.